All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO gym, and the QBO gym is really just a set of numerous exercises that help simulate real life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. And every single month, we come out with a lot more exercises that we break down into 4 different categories. So today we are going to be focusing in our strength training section for July. We are working on locations and classes here. At the top is a video about what's going on in Craig's business that month. Further down is an interactive quiz for you to test your knowledge on what you just learned in that video. And then further down are those exercises in that section. So today we are going to be finishing up the strength training section and working on setting up class expense transactions. There we go. We are going to be working in the sample company. This is where we always work. You need to be in the same session of the sample company that you used in a previous exercise. If you have not done that exercise yet, just go ahead back to that one. There is a link up above in the top right corner of your screen that will take you to the exercise that you need to start with, because all of the exercises in this section continue to build on each other. So our scenario today is that when tracking commercial versus residential, it's fairly simple to differentiate the income. It's not as straightforward, though, to differentiate the expenses. For example, overhead expenses like rent and utilities fall into neither class, neither commercial or residential. So you could set up a third class specifically for this. Also, some of Craig's purchases, such as tools and equipments, again, they could be for both classes because he uses them for both residential and commercial. So again, you could set up another class for this for operating expenses. Also, finally, Craig may make purchases for multiple clients at one time. Some can be commercial and some can be residential. And he may not know at the time which is for which during the purchase. Craig, for instance, may purchase 10 bags of soil and not know how many he will use for each client. So for this exercise, we are going to edit an existing expense to indicate the class. If you would like to practice reallocating expenses, though, after the fact, you may want to consider completing this exercise, which I'm going to click into that. This is all about reallocating expenses using classes. And that is, why can I not click on that? There we go. Which is part of our advanced certification course. And to get to that, if you are interested, www.fastandeasyqbo.com/advanced. Okay, so previously we used the reclassify tool to change the class on a transaction. This is good if you have several transactions to change at once, or if all of the items within that transaction are for the same class. You can also just edit the transaction. However, you'll need to do that if you have separate classes for each item. So before in the last exercise, we were using the reclassify tool because everything within each of those transactions was for either commercial or residential. But for here, for an expense, like we mentioned before, some things may be for residential, some within the same transaction. Some may be residential, some may be commercial. So you're going to have to go into the transaction directly rather than using the reclassify tool so that you can indicate which one goes with which. So to get started, on the left nav bar, we're going to click on expenses and then select vendors. Here I am in the sample company. This is the last page I left off of from the previous exercise, so that's why it looks this way. So go ahead and click on new. Under vendors, click on, I'm sorry, not new, not plus new. Here we go. Expenses, go ahead and click on that. I was getting so excited to add another expense here. And then you want to go into vendors. You could have also just scrolled over this and then clicked on vendors that way as well. We are going to look for Hicks Hardware. So search for that down here, Hicks Hardware. Go ahead and just click into it. And you will see all the transactions associated with Hicks Hardware. We are going to look for check 75. which is right here, type check number 75. Just go ahead and click anywhere into that, and the transaction will appear for you. You will notice that Craig previously purchased several items from Hicks. The rock fountain is likely a commercial customer because not many residential customers have this, though some do. The sprinkler heads, however, could be for anyone. So for the purpose of this exercise, we will assume that some of them are for residential and some are for commercial customers. The remainder of the items we're just going to leave without a class. And in real life, you would want to assign a class for everything, but for the purpose of the exercise, we're just going to leave those other ones without anything. On the first line for rock fountain, we're going to go ahead and select commercial under class. So if we scroll down into the items detail category, here is that rock fountain. Go ahead over here into class, click into that, click on the arrow, and select commercial. For the sprinkler heads, we're going to change the quantity to 10 and then select commercial. So we have here 15 right now. We are going to click into this and adjust this to 10 because we said some were going to be for commercial and some were going to be for residential. So we're going to say 10 were for commercial. And then over here, click into this and click on commercial. And then for the other 5 sprinklers, we're going to need to go ahead and add that for residential. So in that next blank line, which is the 5th row, we're going to add sprinkler heads, the quantity of 5, and then the class is going to be residential. So click into here and start typing in sprinkler heads. Go ahead and click on that. And we said that the quantity is 5 because 5 were for residential and 10 were for commercial. Go ahead and click on this arrow and select residential. Now we know that these 3 line items have been classified. And then you can just go ahead and hit save and close. So that's green button here. And it's asking you if we really want to modify it. And again, because this link is, or because this expense is linked to a purchase order, we're being prompted to confirm that we actually want to change it, but the changes that we made are not going to affect that link between each other. So just go ahead and click on the green yes. And there you go. That's how you would classify expenses per line. And if you have any questions about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below. Be sure to leave this session of the sample company open as you will need it for our cool down section where we focus on reconciling accounts and running reports. And I will see you in the next video.